dear participants, sorry for this technical glitch. So we are going to start with this session that is on blended learning. So in this particular session, we are going to cover that when it comes to the use of various offline, online teaching methodologies in a different kind of environment, how a teacher can club all those kind of environment in a classroom. So when it comes to a blended learning, we have diverse institutions in our country. So when I'm saying diverse institutions, means we have institutions with different kind of resources available. There are institutions, those who are having all kind of advanced facilities in terms of technology available at their campuses. There are institutions where they can borrow these kind of resources, but as far as the resources availability at their institution is very limited. So when it comes to cater the needs of these diverse infrastructure resources or the kind of or the quality of students available with us in different institution, how the teacher can fully integrate technology in teaching learning. So in this particular session, we are going to talk about two different kind of environment in a blended mode, that is the offline learning environment and online learning environment. So any member from the group, so there are many members connected with us online today, approximately 222 members available. So any member from the group having experience in these kind of learning environments, or at your institutions you are using these kind of environments for the students, any faculty who is using blended mode of learning? Yes, any member from the group?
I think, ma'am, in a way, we all are using blended modes of teaching because WhatsApp is there. We use that for circulating information. Then we provide YouTube links also. So in a way, we are integrating, and then there are certain online classes that we conduct in case there is shortage of offline classes. So I think in a way, we are all of us are blending different modes of teaching these days.
Thank you very much, Parul ma'am. So when it comes to a blended mode of learning, it is not simply the integration of online as well as offline learning environment. When we are saying blended mode of learning means a systematic planning that when as a faculty I'm going to use an offline learning environment, and when as a teacher I'm going to direct to my student to use different online resources that are available at institute. So, when it comes to the use of the blended learning mode at institution level, we need to first think of the kind of infrastructure resources available with us and other resources that are essential to create such kind of classrooms. With this note, we are going to start with the very first input of this particular session. So you can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make him drink. So it's a very famous saying, and it is applicable to our institutions and to our universities also. There are many private universities, there are many good government or semi government universities, those who have all kind of resources available. But as a management people or as a member of the department, we need not to assume that just having resources we are causing any impact on student performance. So when Parul ma'am is saying WhatsApp is there that we are circulating information with, there are different online platforms available with us nowadays to disseminate information among student population. It doesn't mean, or I need not to assume that whatever mode of teaching learning I'm using in a classroom environment, that is causing any impact on student. So just buying resources in terms of technology, if they are not making any impact on student performance, the institute need to think of that what we can do or how we can utilize these kind of resources for the purpose of creating a systematic kind of experiences for our students in a class. So when it comes to the use or buying the different kind of resources, first we need to understand that in education where we are heading. My second question to all the participants is, how many of you already read NEP 2020 and in the process of implementing it, or maybe because in 2020 the policy was there with us, how many of you at institution level is able to implement a few of the dimensions of NEP 2020? Yes, why we need blended learning environment? Yes, any member, any center? Do you think that there is a need to understand that what we mean by blended learning and how we can create blended learning environment at institute level? UGC also promoting that blended learning may be the best mode of teaching as far as educational institutions are concerned in our available in our country. Rahul Sharma sir said some of the courses under NEP can be done through MOOCs. Thank you very much, Rahul sir. So when it comes to understand that why we need these kind of advanced teaching strategies or blended mode of learning, we need to understand that what is the demand of the education policy which we are following right now in our country. NEP 2020 is focusing on integration of technology and a great initiative by Government of India by designing and floating different massive open online courses on different platform. And NEP is also promoting that the technology must be there. So when I'm saying the technology must be there, it is not only for the teacher preparation or it is not only for the classroom environment. First, when the teacher is thinking of integrating technology in teaching learning, I need to think of that as a teacher when I'm preparing for my courses or I'm preparing for my lessons for students, I need to have a global picture that with this much of curriculum or this much of syllabus given to me, how it is possible for me to develop my learner, how it is possible for me to promote learning in my classroom's environment so that ultimately I am able to prepare my student for the global working environment. So for that, we can have a technology uses in a classroom environment where we can extend our reach to the global content, to the kind of facilities or practices that is being followed at global level. So when it comes to the integration of technology, it must first started with the teacher preparation and development. How many of the faculty members are using the technology enabled platform to disseminate information among students? When you're preparing for an information or when you're preparing for a content, what are the different web resources or the kind of content or the courses that is available online, how you are mapping your content that you are going to deliver to your class students. So from teacher preparation to development, the first step where the teacher can think of the integration of technology. Improve teaching, learning, and evaluation processes. So when I'm saying improve teaching, learning, and evaluation processes, a teacher, as a teacher in this particular system, I need to think of that there may be variety of students available with me in my class. So when I'm saying the variety of student, they may be varied in terms of their intelligence ability, they may be varied in terms of their EQ ability. And when a teacher is preparing a content, it can be a combination of online and offline environment, because today youth want a flexible kind of education system. So they want anytime, anywhere. So the kind of personalized environment that we are going to create in our teaching learning system that impact the performance of the student population along with the evaluation process. So my third question to all the faculty members, how many of you were using quizzes during the pandemic time? How many of you using quizzes as an evaluation tool during pandemic? So when it comes to the use of the different online evaluation tools, so there are many kind of assessment methods or many kind of evaluations that are available with us. And it is being said that whenever the teacher is using a tool, and there are many articles available in available online also, and in published media also, the many articles available where they highlighted that students and parents are opting out. So when the international agencies or international organization are conducting different kind of surveys, and they are saying that as far as the evaluation processes are concerned and the standardized tests that we are using in our country, they are causing stress and anxiety, inequality, teaching to test. There are biases in the standardized tests produced by the teacher. There is a very narrow kind of curriculum that we are focusing upon. And when it comes to the use of these evaluation tools or online tools, many of the students are not able to relate with the kind of information that is being asked by the teacher. So during pandemic, when we were using the quizzes as a tool of evaluation, we were very clear, and I hope you all agreed with me, that the student who was able to score 90 to 95 marks in a given quiz, when he or she appeared for an exam at institute level, those students are not able to score that much percentage in the different kind of test we designed for them. So when it comes to the creation of a blended learning environment and we are integrating technology, maybe the different evaluation tool, as a teacher I must have understanding that what kind of evaluation is must for this nature of a subject. And when it comes to the creation of these integration of the technology in different kind of evaluation processes, what kind of test or what is the level of the test that the teacher need to create. Enhance educational access to disadvantages group. Rahul sir provided us an input that there are many massive open online courses available with us. So those massive open online courses can be attended by many of the students in our country with whom the electricity or internet facility is available, and the student who are aware of that how they can earn credit by enrolling these kind of MOOC courses. But there is a segment of society as far as education system is concerned where students do not have access to these kind of resources. They do not have even basic resources available in the form of electricity or in the form of internet facility 24 into 7. So when it comes to the creation of online or blending of online and offline learning environment, these blended learning environment provide us a facility so that we can create a content that can outreach to the students who are from those disadvantages group. So when it comes to the integration of the technology, how you are going to integrate technology so that you can elaborate your reach up to the more disadvantages group also. There may be institutions who are available in a remote region where it is not possible for them to call many of the experts. So how the institutions are integrating technology so that with the help of technology they can extend their reach to the field of specialist in that particular area. Streamline education planning, administration, and management. So when we are saying the integration of technology, NEP 2020 is not just focusing on teacher and student preparation, but they are also focusing on, the policy is also focusing on that when it comes to the integration of the technology in teaching learning, it must be started with an educational planning. Say for example, ACT provided us a provision that 40% of the courses can be given to the student or to the class with the help of massive open online courses. How the institutions are going to map those courses that are available. When it comes to the integration of administration kind of activities, how the institution is elaborating and using the technology to ease the process of administration, and how the management is supporting these kind of resources. So when it comes to the creation of these kind of learning environment, the first key point that we need to consider before the creation of blended environment at institute level, the technology integration started from the teacher preparation to the development. Then when the teacher is planning for the different kind of evaluation processes, there must be small studies conducted at institution level that how the integration of technology is impacting the performance of the student. When you're creating content at institute level, how that content will help to the more disadvantages students or the groups of our society in terms of education resources, and how you can convert your resources to digital office resources to digital resources so that you can extend your reach. So there are two different kind of learning environments that we need to understand. The very first one is a synchronous learning environment, and another one is asynchronous learning environment. So any member from the group who would like to give example of synchronous learning environment? So the definition is provided to you on your screen. Synchronous learning is where the teacher is present at the same time as the learner. So any member from the group who would like to give an example of synchronous learning environment you have ever come across?
Ma'am, in our classrooms, which the sessions that we
Live classes, ma'am.
Okay, live classes. Payal Basi ma'am said in our classrooms right now also. Thank you, Dr. Ritu Agarwal ma'am. So very rightly added by three of the participants that when it comes to the creation of the synchronous learning environment, even a traditional classroom is an example of synchronous learning environment. And online learning environment where the facilitator and the learner is available at the same time, that kind of environment comes under the category of synchronous learning environment. So any member who consider the advantages of this kind of learning environment for student population? So is it possible for you
Inter
all? Yes, ma'am.
Interactive session, ma'am.
Interactive session. Thank you very much, ma'am. So my fourth question to all of you is it possible for you, suppose at present, I am delivering a session not to the 234 faculty members, but to 234 students. Is it possible for me to engage session in a smooth manner when I have a student population available with me on the platform?
Ma'am, please repeat the question.
At present, I'm engaging the session for 234 faculty members, maybe. But suppose if this same kind of class, I'm going to deliver the session to 234 students instead of faculty members, is it possible for me to engage a session in such a smooth manner?
No, ma'am,
No,
that will be
ma'am.
very difficult.
No.
No, ma'am. Yeah, thank you very much. So, because when it comes to the creation of the synchronous learning environment, we need to consider the maturity and engagement of the student population. Maybe you all are responding to this particular session. Maybe when I'm asking questions to my student, they are available with me online, but physically they are not available with me. Mentally, they are not available with me in this synchronous kind of a learning environment. Synchronous learning environment in a traditional classroom is beneficial when an information is very new. So, for example, when a student enrolled for a diploma program or for a degree program, where the technical information is very much new for the student, that technical vocabulary is very much new for the student, and basic level of understanding is not yet developed. So, in that particular case, the teacher need to go by synchronous learning environment. In a traditional classroom, it is very easy to control the students in a class, and it is possible for you to deliver information in a smooth manner because students are available with you physically and you can observe their verbal as well as non-verbal behavior. So to develop the basic understanding of any given subject or branch of specialization, we need to always start with synchronous learning environment where we can develop a human connection that ultimately turn into the human engagement or student engagement in that teaching learning process. When it comes to synchronous learning environment, by the use of different online tools available, the teacher need to create certain policies. The teacher need to create certain IT policies, or maybe the discussion forum when the teacher is creating a discussion in a classroom, when the teacher is creating a class, delivering a session to the student, how many times you need to take pauses, what kind of activities or assignment you are going to give to your student. After the submission of that activity and assignment, you are providing feedback to the student in online learning environment too, and what need to be the size of your class. So there are certain policies that need to design at institute level when the teacher is going to create a synchronous learning environment for a student population. If the student is matured by nature. So when I'm saying matured, so maybe for fifth and sixth semester student where level of understanding is already being developed, a teacher can fully engage the students in a synchronous learning environment by creating self-learning modules, by providing them small task activities or assignment, by providing them feedback or creating an environment of peer feedback on different online platforms. So when it comes to the creation of the synchronous learning environment, there are certain barriers that we need to consider. The very first one is it limit the flexibility. So when in this particular program, when the session is assigned to me from 2:30 onwards, it means from 2:30 up to 4 I need to be available on the platform, and it is not possible for me to extend that particular session as per the schedule that is fixed. Suppose if I'm not available, it is not possible for me to create a synchronous learning environment for all of you. So somewhere it limit the flexibility of the facilitator and vice versa for the student population also. Everybody needs to work on the same time, and sometimes if we are not available mentally or maybe physically, there are chances that we are going to miss the content. So these are certain barriers that we need to consider. The second kind of learning environment is asynchronous learning environment. In asynchronous learning environment, the teacher is not present at the same time as the learner. So in these kind of learning environment, in the initial phase, Dr. Parul said that WhatsApp or other social media platforms are there. So those social media platforms help us to disseminate information in a very fast manner, and no student of your class can deny that information is not available with him or her. So when it comes to the creation of asynchronous learning environment, social media plays an important role. So when it comes to the integration of Telegram group, WhatsApp group, Facebook live classes, so these kind of recorded sessions that are available, and how you are transferring information from one end to another end with the help of those media tools that help you to create a kind of learning community that helping each other to cover that kind of a content. So as far as the different MOOC courses are concerned, the courses that are self-paced or the scheduled one also, research studies clearly indicated that in India, the habit of behavioral regulation or self studying is not yet developed even among matured learners. So, there are many impact studies available online. So, when it comes to the asynchronous learning environment, and we are saying the teacher is not present at the same time as the learner, it means a course is provided to the student, but for coverage of that particular course we need to have certain skills that must be developed among student population. So the very first barrier that we are facing at present in our country as far as online learning environments are concerned is capacity building. So any member who can elaborate what we mean by capacity building for online learning environments or asynchronous learning environment, what we mean by capacity building? Yes, any member from the group other than Payal ma'am or the two participants who are interacting. Rest of the participants also requested to kindly share their viewpoints. What we mean by capacity building when it comes to the creation of online learning environment. Thank you very much, Payal ma'am. Skill enhancement. Yes, any another member other than Payal ma'am? Dr. Ritu Singh, group training, flexibility in learning, promoting self-learning. Thank you very much, all of you. When it comes to the utilize the potential of, utilize the potential of staff and student. Thank you very much, Arpana More ma'am. So when it comes to the creation or the capacity building as far as online learning environment is concerned, capacity building for students and capacity buildings for teachers. When I'm saying capacity building for teacher, as a teacher, when it comes to the creation of online learning environment, we need to understand what kind of content must be available with my student. If the content is available on different web resources and the same content you are providing to your student, the student felt disinterested or disengaged in those sessions. When the content is available on different textbooks and the same kind of information is repeated by the teacher, and teacher trying to spoon feed that information among this particular student generation, they felt disengaged in that particular environment because they are very smart. They know that this much amount of information is available on these kind of resources. So whenever they want, whenever they feel so, they can go through those resources and collect information that is delivered by the teacher in a class. So the first thing is capacity building at the part of the teacher is how you are going to organize these kind of teach sessions for your students. What kind of content, how you are going to deliver that content, how many activities need to be the part of your class, when the students are taking part in those activities designed by you, what kind of feedback mechanism that is initiated by the teacher, what are the different resources, or what are the different it can be IT resources or other infrastructure resources available at an institute level, what kind of resources available with you and how you are utilizing those resources. When I'm saying the capacity building at the part of the teacher, we also need to consider the capacity building of that particular department. So capacity building means, is there any technical team available with the department or with the teacher who help him or her out if he or she is facing any kind of difficulty. So ERP system need to be very strong, your IT team need to be there at the institute level, there must be some sort of IT policy that must be designed at institute level before floating any of the program or any of the subject using online or asynchronous learning environment. So capacity building of the teacher population, capacity building of that particular system that help you to go with the kind of courses or with the kind of subject as far as asynchronous learning environment is concerned. Second, the capacity building of the student. So capacity building of the student means at institute level we need to develop a independent path of learning for the student. So when the teacher is mapping the different kind of courses or subject for the student, the teacher need to consider that how we can develop the profile of that particular graduate. So when I'm saying the capacity building at the part of the student, at institute level we need to think of that what is the demand of the world of work and how we are going to prepare our student for this particular working environment or this particular a kind of global problems that we are facing. So as far as the student preparation is concerned, we need to consider that when it comes to the creation of the synchronous learning environment, and we are saying that we are changing and we are integrating technology in teaching learning, we need to change the way we are teaching to our student. So skill graduates needed in 2015 is all the way different from the skill graduate needed in the year 2020. Yes, complex problem solving is there. We need to develop critical thinking among students. There must be creativity flow at institute level as far as your classes are concerned. The student must be able to work in team. They must be able to work in group. They must be able to manage people in that particular group. Emotional intelligence quotient need to be very high, that can be created and initiated with the help of group based and team based learning environment. Or maybe the teacher is giving assignment to the team of the student or to the group of the student so that they can sit together, negotiate between the group and come up with the conclusion of that particular activity. Judgment and decision making need to be very fast. The student must be service oriented, and the kind of leadership style that is prevailing nowadays in working environment is servant style of leadership and shared style of leadership, rather than transactional, directional, charismatic kind of leadership style. Nowadays there is a demand of development of service orientation kind of leadership style, that is servant style of leadership and shared style of leadership. And there must be cognitive flexibility, that is there the part of your asynchronous learning environment. So when we are saying cognitive flexibility, so when I'm saying cognitive flexibility in a research in this particular field, it is being said that from the year 1993 up to 2003, 300% more knowledge is developed and designed by human community. It means when I'm saying online learning environment, maybe there are 20 different resources available with you, but when the student starts searching for that information, maybe student come across 50 different more resources. It means the knowledge pool is very fast nowadays, and every day the knowledge is developing, every day the knowledge is building, and approximately 300% of more knowledge is flowing as compared to the era in 90s. So when I'm saying the capacity building as a teacher, when I'm planning for a class or planning for a session, I need to think of that for a student in my class, I'm preparing my student for the knowledge that is not yet developed and for the technology that is not yet invented. Few years back, we have artificial intelligence. So when we were studying as a student, we do not know about artificial intelligence, but as technology grew, we started learning about that particular technology also. It means for this particular population, when we are saying the asynchronous learning environment and knowledge is available in abundance, I need to develop the habit of self learning among my student population. That will be developed when the teacher is, rather than spoon feeding the information, the teacher provide opportunity to the student to explore more information that is available, providing more kind of activities to the students so that they can think about information, forget about that information, rethink about that information again, and then develop relationship and association between the information that is available. So when we are saying preparing the student for the work population, we need to understand that there are many pressing problems that our community is facing right now. For that kind of pressing problems, example is, say for example, sustainable development goals. So those 17 sustainable development goal, that is the future of our population that is available with us in our different educational institutions. Are we preparing that kind of thinking at institution level, so that with the help of technology or with the help of these flexible learning platform, the student is able to explore more amount of information, able to have more amount of information in terms of technological resources also. So that kind of capacity building or that kind of learning environment need to be the demand of your classroom culture. The second barrier that we are facing in terms of infrastructure facilities. So when I'm saying infrastructure facility and we are talking about the blended mode of learning today, the kind of infrastructure facility that is required for these kind of classrooms, let me share that report with all of you. So blended mode of learning means your classroom structure in terms of infrastructure need to be way more different. So it's a ALS lecture theater of Louisburg University. So this particular class, this is a case study taken from that particular university. So in this particular class, now see the structure of or the infrastructure facility that is available. So there are L-shaped benches available in the lecture hall. So these L-shaped benches liked by the students a lot because these kind of sitting structures help them to interact within the group or team a lot. So the design is simple and flexible and proved extremely popular with the students of that particular space. Another example is active learning space NCSU University. Now see the kind of infrastructure facility that is available with the student. So the podium is there for the teacher to observe all the group of the students working together. The round shaped table in a classroom which promote team based and group based learning. Every table have maybe 4 to 5 laptops available with them. So these kind of spaces help them to create more interactive kind of environment where students can interact with each other. Another example of blended learning classrooms are the group of the students working together within the group. Some of the students are with the traditional kind of resources as far as educational resources are concerned, and technology is also the part of that particular class. So this is the picture of that particular classroom. Another example of this blended learning environment is the screen sharing software that is used for cross-disciplinary student project at Winona State University. So in this particular case study, they mentioned that this group of the students who are working together, they are able to see and they are able to explore that what other students are performing and doing in their group tasks. So they are not discussing with each other within the group, but they are also interacting with the other group members with the help of this particular software. So when I'm saying active learning spaces or the blended learning environment where the teacher is going to create offline and online learning environment, we have a requirement of infrastructure facility. So it is difficult for the institution where this much of it is, sorry. It is difficult for few of the institutions where these kind of infrastructure facilities are not available, how they are going to create these kind of blended learning environments for the student. So the provision can be few of the institution in the nearby region can collectively create such kind of learning spaces or such kind of lab facilities for the students collectively, so that they can create such kind of experiences for the student. The third major barrier as far as online learning environment is concerned is the stakeholder. So my next question to all the participants are, or to all the faculty members are, who are the stakeholders of any educational institution? Who are our
Parents,
stakeholders?
parents,
Parents,
teachers, students,
parents, okay.
teachers, students.
Teachers, students, okay. Yes, any another member from the group?
Like agencies like UGC, AICT.
Thank you very much, ma'am. UGC, AICT are the apex bodies for whom we are following as far as guidelines are concerned. When it comes to the stakeholder, our major stakeholders are the students of that particular institutions, the parents of the parents of those students, and the third major stakeholders are the working environment. It may be industries, it may be different organization. So when it comes to the creation of online learning environment, I need to think of that what is the demand of those stakeholders. Say for example, if I'm engaging a session online or I'm creating an online course for my student, but at institute level there is no check that how the student is performing in that particular program or in that particular subject available online, and suppose after the completion of that particular subject the student appear for an interview, and that business house or that organization said that your student is not prepared as far as skill and information is concerned, it means somewhere we provided that online platform for the student to study by him or her own, but since the learner is not matured enough, the learner was not able to equip himself or herself as far as the knowledge and skill of that particular subject is concerned. So the first major requirement to fulfill the demands of that working environment, whatever your curriculum is, whatever your syllabus is, you are responsible for the coverage of that particular content, but along with it an advanced kind of information or exposure of the different kind of skill prevailing in that working environment also need to be provided to the student, and in this case asynchronous learning environment can bridge that kind of a group. When I'm saying the second major stakeholder is the parent of that particular student. So the parent is responsible as far as our policies are concerned. Parents is responsible for providing all kind of resources to the student. So parents must also be aware, or the awareness need to be created at institute level, that yes, this much portion of the syllabus or this much number of subject the student is going to earn from different kind of online learning environments that is available. So these kind of resources must be available with the student if not provided at institution level, or when the student is taking part in these kind of activities, the kind of personalized space that is required for the student, that space must also be available with the student at home or at their personal spaces. So that kind of preparation, that kind of awareness also need to be there in parent community. The third stakeholder is the student of that particular class. So when I'm saying student of that particular class, and suppose you are giving a synchronous learning environment to that candidate, is there any discussion created at institution level so that student is able to interact with the faculty and clarify the doubts he or she is facing on different asynchronous learning environment? A simple example is maybe the student enroll for a MOOC course that is available on NAPTEL, and the content is of a higher quality. So the student is not able to match the pace with that particular program. So how the institute is supporting that particular student so that the doubts, the clarification, the questions can be answered to that particular student from the supervisor or the faculty assigned for that particular online program at institute level. So when we are providing these kind of asynchronous learning environment, we need to have a proper planning that how we are going to run these kind of courses at institute level, and if the students, parents or industry demanding something else, how we can mapping the demands of these stakeholders. Flexibility to the faculty. So when I'm saying flexibility to the faculty, we need to think of from two different dimensions. Suppose in a department there is one faculty who is teaching the students in offline environment, means in a traditional classroom, and there is a teacher in a department who is engaging classes in a traditional way also, and at the same time the teacher is designing different courses for online learning platforms also. So there is a different kind of load the two members are facing in a given department. So if the teacher is preparing for online programs, if the teacher is preparing for those MOOC courses, what kind of flexibility provided to that particular faculty? Is there any administrative load that is to be managed at departmental level, and giving some of the freedom to those faculty whose members who are creating these asynchronous kind of learning environment for the student? Maybe the student email 200 times to that particular faculty within a semester to clarify the doubt. So as a coordinator, that faculty need to respond to those email queries also. The teacher need to prepare assignments, activity, upload it on the platform also. So there is a different kind of responsibility that teacher is handling when the teacher is providing asynchronous learning environment for the faculty population. And there is another faculty who is engaging traditional kind of courses. So what kind of work culture that is prevailing at that particular department, and how you are managing that workload? So that kind of culture also need to be think of when the teacher is creating a synchronous learning environment. And the major is, this is my opinion, the generation gap. So when I'm saying generation gap, maybe the student in my class is more tech savvy as compared to the senior faculty member available in my department. When the student is more tech savvy, it means the student can explore more amount of information. They know number of tools, number of platforms where they can synthesize information, they can reproduce that information and submit it to the department. So when I'm saying generation gap, what kind of professional development activities are taking part at an institute level, so that we can make all faculty members aware of that what is happening in different educational landscapes now, and how it is possible for me to handle the student and develop the kind of professional ethics that are essential. So when we are saying barriers to synchronous learning, the major is the capacity building of the teachers, capacity building of the student population and of that particular institution, the kind of infrastructure facilities that is essential for the creation of such kind of learning environment, the stakeholder preparation and stakeholder demands, stakeholder parents, student and the working environment, flexibility to the faculty. If you want the faculty of the department to develop online courses, you need to provide them flexibility, maybe in terms of timing, maybe in terms of administrative responsibilities, maybe in terms of providing them the supporting staff or the technical team. When I'm saying the work culture, how as a department you are developing the different kind of learning communities, and how you are going to bridge the gap of the generation that is existing in this particular departments. So blended learning, from this particular discussion, it is clear to us that when it comes to the blended learning, it's a combination of synchronous and asynchronous learning environment. So my next question to all the faculty members available with us online, is it that initially ma'am said WhatsApp is a mean of creating a blended learning environment at institute level. So my question to all the members here is integration of technology is the creation of blended environment at institute level? Yes, any member from the group? Blended learning, is it simply mean that we are integrating any kind of technology in teaching learning? Poonam ma'am, Ritu ma'am, Sachin sir said yes, Payal ma'am said no, Priyanka ma'am, yes. So the right answer is, just by simply integrating technology doesn't mean we are creating a blended learning environment. Yes, it is a combination of both offline online teaching, but it doesn't mean that we are able to create blended learning environment. Why? So when it comes to the creation of the blended learning environment, it's an integration of face to face and online teaching learning. But the major question that we need to answer at institute level is how to club those synchronous and asynchronous learning environment. For this, we need to have planning. So planning in terms of, so when the institute want to create a blended learning environment, the first major requirement the institute need to fulfill is the content. So when I'm saying content, the content must be tailor made. Tailor made means, say for example, there is a MOOC course available on a platform. So some of the institutions simply trying to match those map those MOOC courses with the curriculum provided to them. So it is not simply the mapping of those MOOC program, what additional resources, what kind of content, what kind of self-learning module, what kind of feedback practices designed and created at institute level so that it is possible for the student to cover that MOOC program on time. So content for that particular MOOC program is available online, but at institute level, what kind of content creation may be in the form of assignments, maybe in the form of test, maybe in the form of simplified information if the content is not clear to the student in a class, what kind of self-learning module developed at institute level, what kind of activity specification chart prepared at institute level, so that student is able to cover the content or cover that subject that is available online with the student. It means one observer or maybe one faculty must be available with the student on the platform itself, that whenever there is an important announcement, whenever there is an important direction provided to the students by that MOOC coordinator, that information must be passed to the student in a right manner. If the facilitator or if the observer finding out that the content is a bit difficult for my students available at institute, what kind of content we need to provide to them, so that simplified information need to be developed by that faculty and maybe notes provided to the institution. So that is content blending. Content blending means the major content is available online, but at institute level we are preparing a supportive content so that the creation of that program or the creation of that blended learning may be possible at institute level. Schedule. So when it comes to the preparation of the schedule, so we are saying blended learning is integration of online teaching as well as offline teaching. And there may be many semesters at present in an institution where all the students need to have such kind of experiences designed for them and gained by them. So how you are preparing a schedule with the kind of limited infrastructure resources available at institute level, so it's a very difficult job as far as timetable in charges are concerned. With the kind of limited resources, how you are going to give these kind of experiences to all the students of your department. Assessment. So when offline online teaching is clubbed together, what kind of assessment practices need to be there? As far as literature on blended learning environment is concerned, it is being said that rather than giving the kind of traditional standardized test, there must be reflective based exercises given to the student. So those self-reflection help us to prepare the student a way more as compared to memorizing information and repeating or reproducing information as and when demanded by the teacher. Interaction. If the course is offered to the student online, how many times there is a physical discussion or physical interaction created at institute level? So I would like to share my personal experience over here. So I have two different kind of MOOC courses available on two different platforms. One is on AICT NINIT module number 3, where the faculty members enrolling for that MOOC program for their professional development. The same course is available on Swayam platform also, where number of students from different universities and institutions preparing and earning credits for communication skill program. So at the end of the semester, I got many emails from the different institutions or from the different universities that are students enrolled for that particular program, but students were not able to appear for the final test, or we missed that information available online through assignments, other activities. So our students were not able to complete that program on time. Kindly provide them some sort of flexibility. So as a coordinator, the flexibility is not available with me. We are just preparing the information content, designing activities and floating those activities on the platform. It is the platform, as per the schedule, they are conducting and organizing all kind of activity. So when I'm saying interaction, if the faculty or observer is there for that particular program at university and institute level, there are chances that every student appear for the final test, because teacher will direct the student that yes, your final test for this MOOC program is on this date. So every student must be appear and register for that online test. When we are saying assignment deadline submission is there, if the kind of information provided to the student on time, maybe an invigilator or maybe the observer checking all kind of email notifications, it is possible for the students to complete those activities and assignments on time. So when we are saying the blended learning environment for the students who are not matured enough, or at institute level whose self-independent path of learning is not developed yet, what kind of interaction is created for those students at institute level? It doesn't mean that you offer the MOOC programs to the student and at institute level you do not have any check. It is the responsibility of the department to check that whether my students are completing those activities and assignments on time or not. If not, what kind of additional support need to be there for the student population so that they can earn credit on time. So when we are saying the integration of the both kind of learning environment, so content need to be there, the schedule that is designed by the teachers at departmental level need to be very foolproof. Assessment activities for offline classroom, the assessment is of different nature. For online classes, the assessment may be with the help of different tools. But what kind of tools and how you are designing the items for those tests also matters. And what kind of interactions created at institute level when there is a clubbing of synchronous and asynchronous learning environment at institute level. So we decided or we discussed that there are four important dimensions that we need to focus upon. One is the content, another is the schedule, third one is assessment, and fourth one is the interaction. Now the question arises that how we achieve this. The very first thing that we need to consider is training our faculty members as far as online teaching practices are concerned. So when it comes to developing a content for online platform, or it may be the synchronous kind of a classroom where the teacher is available with the student all time, or asynchronous learning environment where the teacher prepared the information beforehand before the student enrolling for that particular program, certain set of skills need to be developed by the teacher. So those kind of practices or those kind of skill enhancement need to be there at the part of the teacher. Second is communication skills. So there are four basic skills of communication. One is reading, writing, listening, and speaking. As far as the different blended kind of learning environment is concerned, we have a flavor of all the skills of communication. So when the student is available with us in traditional or in offline mode, it is possible for me to listen to the student actively. I can give maximum of the chances to my student to speak about some information or about a concept or maybe the content related to that particular subject. In an online learning environment, I can engage my student more for written kind of communication. It is possible for me to provide resources or to provide the links to my student where they can read out information, synthesize information, and then reproduce information in a structured manner. So when I'm saying communication skills, so it's a combination of the four basic skills of communication. So as per the kind of learning environment created by the teacher, the demand in terms of communication skills may be different. So Harvard University consider emoji as an official language. as far as online learning platforms are concerned, because those signs and symbols help us to understand the kind of non-verbal expression given by the students in an online platform. So how the students are feeling, what is their emotional state, from those emojis we can easily judge or we can easily manage. So when it comes to engaging the students in a written kind of communication, what kind of activities, what kind of assignments you are going to give to your student. So we know as a teacher that ChatGPT is available with all the students of my class. Even with me as a faculty, ChatGPT is available. So if I'm giving the routine kind of statements to my student that is not reflective based, my student may be able to complete that activity and assignment just by the click of the mouse. So when I'm saying the written kind of communication in today's environment, what we mean by a good academic writing, and as per that academic writing, what kind of activities or what kind of assignments need to be there with our student. When I'm saying listening in a traditional classroom environment, active listening, empathetic listening, appreciative listening need to be the part of every classroom, with the use of which it is possible for me to engage the students in the process of learning. When I'm saying listening in an online platform, how many times the student will listen to the information that is being recorded by the faculty? How much amount of information need to be there so that it is easy for the student to develop a pace with the amount of information delivered by the teacher. So very crisp, very unique, very structured kind of information need to be recorded that develop the understanding related to that particular content. So when it comes to the use of these kind of communication skills, the teacher need to think of that more communication in a classroom, there will be more understanding as well as instructional messages are concerned. The third major requirement is a learning space. So when I'm saying asynchronous learning environment, asynchronous learning environment means a cafeteria of the institution, park area of the institution, a home space of the student, a laboratory facility, any space where the student have the digital resources available where he or she can go through that amount of information can become a learning space. Even the session delivered by you as a faculty, the student can record that information in a traditional classroom and pass that information to the other student, maybe from another institution. So when we are saying learning spaces, nowadays learning spaces is a very complex phenomena. So whatever information the teacher is disseminating to the student, that information must be accurate in all senses, because it is not just the information delivered to them, it might be the information transferred by them to the hundred of the students outside your institutions. Excuse me. So when I'm saying learning spaces, nowadays when the students are available with you in synchronous classrooms also, the students start clicking the photographs of the content developed by the teacher. They are creating PDFs and passing that information to rest of the students who are not available with them. Students are not in the habit of note taking. They just put on the recorder on, and when the teacher is delivering, they are recording all kind of information, and as and when they require, they listen to that information and cover that kind of a content. So learning spaces are the complex phenomena. Whatever teacher is delivering in a class, that must be accurate in all sense, and rather than spoon feeding amount of information to the student, the teacher must engage the student into number of activities, and based on those activities designed, the teacher can design for the various input sessions. Earlier what we were doing, and when I was studying, the classroom nature was the teacher will come to the class, the teacher will deliver the session for 45 to 50 minutes, and whatever the faculty delivered, that is accurate and exact information, and we are going to reproduce that information again and again in different kind of test designed by the teacher. Nowadays the information is already available. Whenever I am delivering information, my students start searching for that information and scrolling down that information from the different web resources that is available, and they are comparing the information that is available. So rather than delivering all amount of information, we need to create a space where student can search for information take part of that particular classroom and provide information to not only to the rest of the student but also to the faculty. More of the interaction, more chances that there is a good blending between offline and online learning environment. The third question that we all need to answer as far as blended learning environment is concerned, how to blend effectively. So the very first factor is readiness. Yes, any member from the group, what we mean by readiness in blended learning environment. Yes, what we mean by readiness in blended learning environment. If you want to blend offline online, what kind of readiness need to be there? So we have one response as student participation is must. Thank you very much, Shiv sir. Any other faculty who would like to add on something to it? Should be adaptable to new changes. Who should be more adaptable? Is it the teacher or the student? Dr. Sushil K. Upadhyay sir said infrastructure facilities. Thank you very much, sir. Teacher first, ready with online updated tool. So when we are saying readiness in terms of blended learning environment, rightly added by all of you is readiness first at the part of the teacher. Readiness first at the part of the teacher means the teacher will be the in charge of that particular activity. So when I'm saying offline learning environment and teacher is engaging classes in offline environment, it is very easy for the teacher to control the amount of information he or she is going to deliver. But when the teacher is integrating technology in those offline, online teaching sessions, the readiness at the part of the teacher in terms of preparation and effort that need to be put in by the teacher. So at present in this particular program, when the experts are delivering sessions to all of you, because you all are matured senior faculty members, so amount of information is also available with all of you, and you have lot many years of experiences. So whenever there is a delivery of information, you start critically analyzing that information. You are comparing that information with the already existing information that is available with you, and there may be acceptance of information or there may be rejection of information at your end. Now think of a situation when as a teacher you are delivering a session in a class and student, maybe with the help of the smartphone available with the student, they start searching for information and they find out that rather than listening to this particular faculty available with me in a class, this amount of information available on maybe with the help of recorded YouTube session or maybe with the help of a notes that is available online with the student, that information is more accurate and that information is more useful. Point of discussion is when I'm saying readiness, as a teacher, I need to prepared enough as far as content is concerned. And at the same time, I must be adapted to that particular environment. That if the student is saying to me that this information is available in a good sense at this particular platform, I must refer to that particular source and I must appreciate the student to finding that information and providing that information to me as a faculty, because in this particular area it is not possible for me to capture and catch all amount of information that is available. So that is why at national and international level there is a discussion that when it comes to the delivery or when it comes to the development of a content, what kind of preparation it is essential for the teacher to have, and rather than engaging the student in verbal explanation, can we change our classes to activity based classes so that the teacher are developing information instead of faculty members are developing and delivering information. So readiness at the part of the teacher. Second is readiness at the part of the institution. So if an institution want to create a blended kind of learning environment, it means the infrastructure facilities, maybe in terms of IT lab, maybe in terms of IT policy, maybe in terms of smart resources at university hostels or at institute campus need to be available with the student. Internet facility must be provided to the teacher and to the student 24 into 7. Only then it is possible for us to use and create such kind of advanced learning environments at institute level. Readiness at the part of the parents. Readiness at the part of the parent means if the student is demanding some sort of resources for educational purposes, the parents needs to understand, and such kind of awareness need to be created at institute level, that educational landscape is converting into digital means. So this much of resources are essential for the students to use. So readiness for the teacher, for the student, and for the management as far as the creation of these blended learning environments are concerned. Second is intensity. So when I'm saying intensity, the question arises up to what extent it is possible for you to create an environment. There may be students in an institute, maybe due to the quality of admission or maybe due to the region in which the institution is available, the students are not ready to adopt these kind of changes. They want to have a lecture kind of a method where the teacher deliver all kind of information and there are standardized tests designed by the teacher for their evaluation. So that institution need to think of that how it is possible for me to change the mindset of the student population. Intensity, suppose the institution is buying all kind of advanced resources, giving all kind of resources to the faculty members, the institution need to evaluate how many teachers able to create resources, how many teachers are able to utilize these kind of resources available with them, and how many faculty members are facing difficulty when it comes to the integration of technology in teaching learning. So intensity means up to what extent the faculty member can utilize these kind of resources. If they are facing any kind of difficulty, what kind of support system the institute can provide to the faculty member for their training. Intensity means maybe by advancing the resources at institution level, you think of that student may have global kind of experiences at institute level, but if doesn't causes any impact on student performance, it means the technology integration is not at all good or serving no purpose in that educational institute. So you need to conduct an impact study, that what amount of resources, what kind of training, what kind of information need to be ready with the teacher and student, so that we can create all kind of resources more effectively and more appropriately. There are faculty members in different faculty development program, those who are saying that blended learning means when the student or the teacher is displaying a YouTube video in a classroom, that is a blended kind of learning environment. That is not blended learning environment, that is integration of technology. Blended learning means some of the portion covered by the teacher in an offline classroom, the same kind of session or the same based on that particular session, when the students are performing something while sitting online in an institute or at their home, where they can interact with all kind of resources available with them, that creation is a blended creation. So maybe activities, maybe reflection based exercises, maybe problem solving exercises, or maybe some of the projects given to the student where they can reflect upon what they have learned in your traditional classroom. Impact need to be there, otherwise no need to buying the fancy resources at institution level if your faculty and teachers are not prepared of using those resources. And most importantly, there may be faculty members in a department who consider that their comfort and order is in lecture method, and without integrating technology they are very good. So it is not essential that for every subject there must be an integration of technology. Depending upon the nature of the subject also, we need to decide that what subject can be covered by using blended mode of learning. Otherwise there are 100 different methods also that can be utilized depending upon their usefulness. So readiness in terms of the context, readiness in terms of financial resources, readiness in terms of commitment, readiness in terms of institute role, Most importantly, readiness in terms of content and readiness in terms of culture. So cultural aspect also need to be considered. Intensity means up to what extent the teacher, student and management can adopt these kind of resources, and ultimately the impact study need to be there. So blended learning is not mixed mode of teaching, hybrid learning or technology mediated or enhanced learning. It's a systematic process of delivering instruction to the student by evaluating the nature of the content, by evaluating the kind of student available at institute level, by managing all kind of infrastructure resources available with the teacher and with the student, and depending upon what kind of learning experiences you want to create at institute level. So for a complex adaptive blended learning system, central part or the central locus is the learner. So we need to prepare our learners to become researchers, to become practitioners, to become collaborators, for which the teacher need to act as a facilitator, moderator. The institution need to have strategic planning. The institute need to create the support services for the teacher and the student. The institute need to provide services and other infrastructure facilities. As far as engineering institutions are concerned, in a learning environment, there must be academic support system. So nowadays, in few of the universities, it is not the teacher who is delivering a subject. It's a group of the faculty members in a department who is developing for a given subject. So you can think of collaborative kind of teaching assignments also, or cooperative kind of teaching assignments, rather than assigning a individual subject to an individual faculty. The technical support team is essential if you're integrating technology in teaching learning. Technology can be provided to the students in two different modes: synchronous, asynchronous. For immature learners, means for the students of first and second the year, the synchronous mode of learning is a better way to blend the kind of environment, and for more mature learner, asynchronous can also serve a purpose. When it comes to the preparation of the content, it must be for individualized learning, means some independent assignments also need to be given to the student in the initial phase of their education, so that independent path of learning can be developed. There must be team based and group based activities at institute level to create interaction among students that help the teacher to create the level of engagement and rapport, not with the student but also within the students group. There must be collaborative kind of activities where it is possible for the teacher to develop different kind of employable skills among students. So complex adaptive model talk about the learner, teacher, content, technology, learning support and role of institute. And at the last, for a blended kind of learning environment, what we need? We need trained faculty, we need quality students, we need complex learning spaces, we need flexibility in working culture, and we need technology for adoption. So there are many models related to the blended learning. So I'm not going to cover this much in the given session. So there are different models of blended learning are a la carte model. So that is self-blended model of blended learning. Another is flex model. Third one is enriched virtual mode. So these can be the models that one can adopt for creation of blended learning environment. But the maximum utilized model by the Indian institutions are a flex model, where the teacher is providing opportunity to the students to interact with the amount of information. Then they are creating different kind of environment or the social spaces for the students to interact with. So this is all from my side. If you have any question, you are requested to kindly unmute and ask. So in this particular session, we have covered in general that what we mean by blended learning and how it is possible for the institute to develop this kind of blended learning environment. So as far as blended learning is concerned, it's an advanced teaching method. So it's not a traditional kind of a teaching approach. So we need a lot of preparation and effort for the creation of such kind of a learning environment. So this is all from my side. If you have any question, you're requested to kindly unmute and ask. Dolly Kumar ma'am said teachers should be skilled and efficient so that interaction between student and faculty become effective. I'm agreed with you, ma'am, but at the same time, when it comes to the use of such advanced instructional strategies at institute level, there must be flexibility in the working culture also. So that change also essential to bring at different institutions, because for the use of these advanced method, the teacher need to have lot of preparation. So for lot of preparation, the teacher need to have time. So that is the flexibility in working culture allow the teacher to prepare for these kind of advanced teaching methods. Blended has overall impact on performance, attitude, and learning. Yes, Poonam ma'am, there are many research studies available. So that is why UGC and AICT is promoting. UGC is more promoting the blended learning environment for the student, because it is not only developing the technical or the soft skills among student, but it also developing the people management skill among student population.